Hello and welcome. Today we will talk about generational and spiritual diversity. The idea here is that as managers and employees, we need to be aware that our colleagues may not necessarily be of the same generation as us or similar spiritual beliefs as us, but nonetheless, that type of diversity can be very helpful in strengthening your organization and allowing people to be who they are and bring their own norms and values that are aligned with the organization into the team can hopefully make them more committed to the organization as well as more productive and happier employees. That's why it's important to understand the needs and the values of different generations and also think about spirituality and how it can be helpful to us in the workplace. So the dimensions of diversity can include things like gender, race, culture, age, family, career status, religion, disability, as well as spiritual beliefs and generational differences. So diversity embraces the range of individual skills, educational qualifications, work experience, and background, as well as languages and other relevant attributes and experiences which differentiate one individual from others. So this definition can be true here in the United States and Canada or any place regarding the value of diversity related to various generations and those who have different spiritual beliefs when they come to our organization. And again, when it comes to age, for example, your colleagues and employees might be of different generations. Some might be your son's age. Some of you might have employees that are your father's age or even your grandfather's age. So we need to be mindful that we cannot and should not work with them based on biases that exist in society or things that we might have accumulated, internalized over the years as a result of our socialization. Because discrimination against middle-aged and older workers, for example, has long been a common practice, unfortunately, in the American business organizations. I'd said that nearly all middle-aged and older workers at some time during their work careers, unfortunately, have experienced consequences of age discrimination or will experience such discriminatory practices. We know that the law prohibits age discrimination in the American workplace, and workers over the age of 40 are still, unfortunately, subjected to adverse employment decisions that are motivated oftentimes by false stereotypical notions concerning the physical and mental abilities of older workers. In today's environment, for example, we have a president, Joe Biden, who is 81 years of age. Many people are talking about his mental acuity and mental ability. Of course, they're not always thinking and talking about the 50 to 60 years experience that he brings in from political background that he's been in there. So the idea of being a leader does not have to be on physical strength, on how fast you can run, on how often you are able to outperform others in physical activities, but it should be based on experience and obviously based on ability to have a vision beyond the present. Some older workers in the American workplace are often encouraged into premature retirements, denied developmental opportunities that can lead to promotions. Sometimes they're denied deserved transfers or job promotions. They're terminated for causes that have little or nothing to do with their performance and are often excluded from long-term decision-making due to biases and assumptions that exist either within us or within our departments or in the collective environment where the culture, where the city is. Consequently, oftentimes when people are discriminated against or they see discrimination toward other individuals, their colleagues, they become less committed to the organization overall and the cause of the organization. And it is more than just a passive loyalty to a company or an organization or even a public sector entity. Commitment entails active involvement within the organization whereby the employee wants to achieve the stated goals because he or she is engaged and included in the decisions. Academic research has linked organizational commitment to behaviors such as turnover, absenteeism, and even job performance of workers. So the process through which an employee enters the company or the organization through the recruitment process often shapes his or her level of commitment to the organization over time. So that initial day when a person is being interviewed and then he or she is being hired, and the first day when he or she starts, begins the identification of how committed should I be to the cause, to the vision, to the mission of this organization and my employees. So the behavior of your colleagues and teammates and the bosses do impact new recruits' level of commitment. Generation X employees look for companies and firms and organizations and managers that recognize employees for their daily value that they bring in return for the rewards and satisfaction that they receive. Some authors have defined organizational commitment as the relative strength of an individual's identification with and involvement in a particular organization, generally characterized by at least three different factors. One, a strong belief in and acceptance of the organization's goals and values. Two, a willingness to exert considerable effort on behalf of the company or the organization. And third, a definite desire to maintain their membership in the organization. There is a systemic impact regarding disparate generations in our workplace. In a 21st century environment, organizations need to embrace change as a constant motivating force that provides both opportunities as well as challenges. The major thoughts of organization theory do change over time and through ages because of new knowledge, new paradigms always coming up. So it's very important for managers to study their workforce and understand the impact of having a multi-generation workforce in their organization. Because decision-making is one of the most interesting and pervasive concepts in all organizations. The more employees you have, the more difficult decision-making becomes, but that's why it's important to have people representing different generations and different dimensions of diversity, so collectively you all can make the right decision by engaging everyone. The ability to learn faster than our competitors for making effective decisions might be one of the true competitive advantages for your organizations and your teams. American leaders are dealing with a multi-generation workforce as they are likely to have 4 to 5 distinct generations working in their departments at the same time. They could be, in some cases, baby boomers, some cases Generation X, Generation Y, or the millennials or cyberspace generation. So understanding the various generational personalities can help you as managers and leaders build bridges in the work environment to create collaborative teams that are hopefully leading to a learning organizational culture for you and your organization. The baby boomers who were born in the 40s, or in 50s and 60s tend to make up about 80 million individuals. They grew up in suburbs, had educational opportunities above their parents, saw lots of consumer products hit the market, and the television had a significant impact on their views of the world regarding equal opportunities and other human rights. Many members of this generation served in the military throughout the United States and around the globe, which provided them, obviously, many new experiences from different perspectives. The preferred learning environment of the baby boomers is somewhat interactive and includes or is associated with the being involved in team activities. Generation X makes up about 46 million employees or individuals in the United States in transition in the work environment during the 1990s. They are technology savvy, although may not necessarily know a whole lot about artificial intelligence like you all are dealing with right now, as every generation is expected to learn about it. They detest micromanagement in the work environment and want constant feedback on how they're performing. Generation X feels as though they're making a difference in society because they expect corporations and organizations to be socially responsible. They believe that as long as the job gets done, it isn't important where or how it occurs. In other words, flexibility of how the job gets done, where it gets done, is important for Generation X employees. This is where obviously some remote work began and hybrid work during the 1990s and the years after that. So it's now becoming more of the norm for many of us, but they are the first generation that became comfortable with it. Generation Y makes up about 70 million individuals. They're technology savvy as well, generally good at multitasking, and have had access to cell phones, personal pagers, computers, and concern for personal safety most of their life. It is predicted that this generation will be more loyal to companies than Generation Xers, provided they're stimulated and have learning opportunities. They're likely to challenge why systems and how things operate. Futurists feel that this generation will make the greatest contribution to society. Of course, the cyberspace generation, the millennials, will probably say no. It's not Generation Y, but their generation will make the greatest contribution. However it pans out, we will see. But obviously, each generation brings in different experiences. They're brought up with different expectations and values. And we need to involve and integrate them and hopefully align managerial practices with their expectations to the extent possible. Regardless of what generation you're dealing with, try to be a good leader and to others and encourage senior employees in your department or organization to serve as mentors. There is a relationship between leadership style and various generations in terms of developing their affective commitment. As explained by the situational leadership theory, there's no one best way to influence others. One challenge that leaders have is to use a leadership style or mentoring that best meets your employees' motivational needs. Nonetheless, workers tend to be committed when their immediate boss demonstrates a concern for their well-being and empathy with their situations. The overarching purpose of leadership or mentoring is to guide and coach employees as they move along the path to achieve a goal, which may eventually lead to a higher level of commitment to the organization, to the team, to the department, and to the specific workplace and profession. The aging of the population suggests managers need to be very vigilant in ensuring that employees are not discriminated against because of their age or different generations. It is also important that managers educate themselves and their employees concerning various disabilities and capabilities. Remember that the Americans with Disabilities Act, otherwise known as ADA, prohibits discrimination against individuals with various forms of disabilities. And this act requires managers and employers to make reasonable accommodations to allow those who have a disability to effectively perform their jobs. Key challenge for all managers and organizations is to create an environment where those who do need special accommodations feel comfortable disclosing that need while making sure that those accommodations are perceived to be fair by others throughout the department and organization. Chapter also explains a little bit about spirituality in the workplace. So some reflection should be made by managers and employees about what it means to allow spirituality in the workplace. Our evolving American culture and an unreliable business climate seems to be driving the revitalization of the workplace through an infusion of discussion on spirituality. The need for a spiritual connection to carry over into the workplace is very important to many individuals because of an ongoing upheaval in the structure of the organizations, which often results in feelings of insecurity among employees. It is also important for people who perceive themselves as spirited beings to lead congruent lives by enacting their values in all areas of their lives, including the workplace. So a sense of spirituality and commitment lead to their being energized through work. Spirituality in the workplace is about experiencing one's real purpose and meaning at work beyond having a paycheck and performance reviews. It involves people sharing and experiencing some common attachment, attraction, and togetherness with each other within work units and the organization. However, it should be noted that the term spirituality can mean different things to different individuals in the workplace. Webster's dictionary defines spirituality as of relating to, consisting of, or affecting the spirit, of relating to sacred matters concerned with religious values or spirit. The key is to know that spirituality has many different definitions, and for you and I, it's about allowing people to be who they are without imposing their personal values on others or us imposing our values on them. But spirituality overall can benefit individuals in the workplace. Some see spirituality as a kind of shorthand for the deepest urgings and impulses of the human self, that which gives meaning and depth to everyday life. So the concept encompasses a person's need for creativity, a person's desire for self-expression, and their hunger for love and service. A spirituality of work refers to making work a part of one's spiritual life, finding opportunities for self-expression, bringing more values into the workplace, standing up for what one believes, and developing a sense that all of life is sacred. Regardless of our definition of spirituality, keep in mind certain realities, that the downsizing, the re-engineering, and the layoffs have turned the workplace into an environment where workers are often demoralized. So the workplace is being seen more often as a primary source of community for many employees because of the decline of neighborhoods, civic groups, and extended families as principal places for feeling connected to one another. So the curiosity about other cultures and philosophies exists. A Harvard Business School study examined 10 different companies with a strong corporate culture and 10 with weak corporate cultures, which were drawn from a list of 200 leading companies. They found a dramatic correlation between the company's spirited culture and its profitability, and also that in some cases, the more spirited companies outperformed the others by 400 to 500% in terms of net earnings, return on investment, and shareholder value. One view of spirituality is the idea that individuals hold sets of moral beliefs, which are distinct from religious beliefs, that inform their sense of right and wrong in the workplace. Everybody wants to make the right decision. Hopefully, the values that somebody inherently lives with based on their understanding of spirituality are aligned with that of the organization. So it makes it much easier for managers to allow people to exercise their spirituality so they can always focus on social responsibility, corporate responsibility, individual responsibility by doing things right or living according to the golden rule, doing unto others as they would have them do unto them. So spirituality can be a positive or a plus for the team and the department and the organization. Ultimately, we need to encourage people to be who they are and that which they want to be. Just like you and I need to be who we are and that which we want to be. And we need to remember it's what's inside a person that makes a difference, is the input that he or she receives cognitively that ultimately influences his or her feelings toward things and influences his or her daily and decisions. Regardless of our generational differences or spirituality practices, through equity and inclusionary practices, we can make diversity an advantage for us, for our teams, and for our organizations. Good luck.